Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and what we're going to talk about today is arguably one of the most iconic cars Ferrari has ever made. This is the 1989 Ferrari Testarossa. This model was made famous by the TV show Miami Vice from back in the day. The car was produced from 1985 to 1991, and these are 12-cylinder Ferraris. One of the best things about them is they sound like 12-cylinder Ferraris. When you get in and start this car, it sounds like a jet engine starting up. Ferrari did make a lot of Testarossas over the course of that time, somewhere just under 8,000 Testarossas. However, contrary to what you may think, this car is still pegged to be one of the most collectible Ferrari models still to come down the road. So you might ask why that is. Well, goes back to what we always say, there's nothing more expensive than a cheap Ferrari, and that could not be more true when you're talking about a Testarossa. If you stumble across a very inexpensive Testarossa, it's probably because it has an incredible amount of deferred maintenance. If this car has deferred maintenance, I've seen bills personally in excess of 6 figures, over $100,000 to get the car back to a point where it's a reasonable car. As a result, a lot of those cars over the past 30 years that have been neglected, that people have not maintained, have basically ended up being scrapped, and they've basically been parted out. And so, once again, supply and demand, that big supply at once has become much smaller. To find true pedigreed, good cars with good service history is getting harder and harder, and because it is probably one of the most iconic Ferraris ever made. That's why even in Italy, people with Ferrari say this is probably one of the next $1 million collectible Ferraris. One of the reasons why I love this car is because there's nothing like a V12 Ferrari. And like I said in the beginning, just from the sound of when you start it up, the pure power, and it's a heavy car. If you open and close the door, you can feel just the weight in the door. You can feel the quality of the fit and finish, the big, comfortable leather seats. It's a large car, yet it's really fun to drive. It goes very fast, especially for a 1989, and the sound is absolutely intoxicating. The most important thing, if you're considering buying a Testarossa, whether you want to buy an early model, which is called the Flying Mirror. They made those in 85 and 86. It was very low production. Those cars are pegged to be extraordinarily collectible. Or if you get an 87 to a 91, the most important thing to do is to check the service pedigree of that car and make sure you're getting a car that doesn't have a lot of deferred maintenance. Because if you do, you will be living an experience that we've had before, which is there's nothing more expensive than a cheap Ferrari.